Imagine this. Hidden in the vast expanse of the ocean, islands where time itself is frozen, societies trapped in the 1950s or even medieval eras, cut off from the modern world. No smartphones, no internet, just endless loops of bygone days. What if governments are breeding these isolated human experiments right now? Welcome to Project Freeze. Buckle up, because this isn't science fiction. It's the fringe theory that's bubbling up in 2025, and it might just be real. Hey everyone, I'm Huckleberry, an enthusiast that loves to explore fringe topics. Today we're diving deep into Project Freeze, a rumored black-budget program that's allegedly creating self-contained worlds on remote private islands. These aren't vacation spots, they're psychological and evolutionary labs where people live as if the clock stopped decades or centuries ago. Why? To study human behavior in isolation, test mind control, or even prepare for post-apocalyptic survival. Sound crazy? Let's break it down with the evidence that's out there. First, the origins. Project Freeze is whispered to be an offshoot of declassified CIA programs from the mid-20th century. We all know about MKULTRA, the illegal human experimentation program where the CIA dosed people with LSD and used sensory deprivation to break minds. But dig deeper and you'll find isolation experiments were absolutely key, with leaked and declassified documents painting a chilling picture of how the agency pushed the boundaries of human endurance. Let's start with the infamous Senate Select Committee report from 1977, which exposed MKUltra's dark underbelly. In projects like Third Chance and Derby Hat from the early 1960s, the CIA employed sustained isolation as a duress factor before administering LSD, aiming to enhance interrogation techniques and induce paranoia or behavioral breakdowns. One quote from the testimony stands out.
Brainwashing was largely a process of isolating a human being, keeping him out of contact.
Those are the words of psychologist John Gittinger. They even used isolation chambers in material testing programs like EA 1729, where volunteers were confined after LSD doses to study how total sensory cutoff could rewrite perceptions and loyalty. Then there's MKUltra Subproject 68, the Montreal experiments led by Dr. Donald Ewan Cameron at McGill University's Allen Memorial Institute from 1957 to 1964. Funded secretly by the CIA, Cameron's team subjected unwitting patients, mostly those with depression or schizophrenia, to extreme isolation tactics. Picture this. Sensory deprivation where eyes, ears, and skin were covered combined with minimal food, water, and oxygen, while patients were paralyzed with drugs like curare and LSD. Some were plunged into drug-induced comas lasting up to 86 days using thorazine, all to de-pattern the brain, erasing memories and personalities before repatterning them with psychic driving. That's where looped audio messages, repeated up to 500,000 times, drilled new thoughts into their minds for 16 hours a day. Intensive electroshock therapy followed, with up to 40 daily sessions of 150-volt shocks designed to reprogram the psyche permanently. These methods drew directly from earlier work by psychologist Donald O. Hebb, also at McGill, whose 1950s sensory deprivation experiments, funded by the CIA and Canadian government, showed that just a few days in isolation could cause vivid hallucinations, cognitive collapse, and a complete overhaul of mental states. Hebb's volunteers, paid students, broke down quickly under padded rooms with constant noise and light deprivation, proving isolation's power as a tool for psychological reconfiguration. The CIA saw this as gold for mind control, integrating it into their arsenal for breaking individuals. Now in the fringe lens of Project Freeze, imagine scaling this up. Not just lone subjects in tanks or chambers, but entire isolated communities engineered to mimic frozen eras, using EM fields and controlled environments to enforce perpetual separation from modern society. These declassified docs reveal the CIA's obsession with how total separation from society could rewrite human psychology, setting the stage for black-budget societal simulations. It's not a stretch, after all. If they could reprogram one mind through isolation, why not a whole village? Now, fast forward to the 2020s. Whistleblower leaks, mostly anonymous drops on forums and X, claim Project Freeze scaled this up. Instead of single subjects, entire communities are engineered on private islands. These spots are owned by elites, shielded by NDAs and no-fly zones. We're talking places like Lanai in Hawaii, snapped up by Oracle's Larry Ellison for billions, or Vela in the Maldives, controlled by billionaire Gigi Schmeich and run as ultra-exclusive resorts. But what if the resort facade hides something darker? Rumors say electromagnetic fields or jamming tech keep satellites blind and intruders out. creating perfect bubbles where time doesn't move forward. Let's look at the proof. In 2024 and 2025, ex-users like the Flat Earther started posting about Project Freeze, describing it as a secret government program to create isolated societies on private islands, trapped in different time periods. They claim these islands are eerie time capsules, officially non-existent but used for experiments. Another post ties it to abandoned islands like North and South Brother in New York, speculating on hidden mysteries. And get this, fringe researchers point to elite island buys spiking post-pandemic. With climate migration heating up in 2025, billionaires like Richard Branson, Necker Island, or the Barclay brothers, Brecco, are fortifying their retreats. Epstein's network? That's the tip of the iceberg. His Little St. James was allegedly a hub for elite secrets, and Project Freeze could be the next level. Not just parties, but full societal simulations.
I've seen the leaks. These islands aren't for relaxation. They're testing grounds. Imagine a 1950s town where inhabitants don't know about the internet, conditioned to believe the world ended, or a medieval village for evolutionary studies. EM shields block tech. Drones crash if they get close. It's MKULTRA 2.0, prepping elites for when society collapses.
Ties to 2025? With AI boom and global unrest, these could be bunkers for the ultra-rich. Declassified docs show the CIA's long-standing interest in controlled offensive behavior through isolation, a concept explored in depth in a 1972 Defense Intelligence Agency report prepared with CIA input titled Controlled Offensive Behavior, USSR. This document, declassified and available in the CIA's reading room, details Soviet research on human vulnerabilities, including methods like sensory isolation combined with psychopharmaceuticals to manipulate behavior, weaken will, and induce psychological breakdowns, tactics the U.S. intelligence community monitored closely for potential countermeasures or adoption. It explicitly discusses how isolation can be used to incapacitate individuals or groups, framing it as a tool for offensive psychological operations, with sections on mental manipulation and the USSR's alleged use of such techniques in warfare or interrogation. Building on this Cold War foundation, more recent declassifications tied directly to modern applications. In the post-9/11 era, the CIA's black sites employed similar isolation tactics as part of enhanced interrogation techniques. For instance, the 2014 Senate Select Committee on Intelligence report on the CIA's detention and interrogation program, partially declassified, reveals how detainees were subjected to prolonged solitary confinement, sensory deprivation, like constant white noise or darkness, and environmental manipulation to break resistance and extract information, echoing MKUltra's isolation chambers, but scaled for counterterrorism. Additional documents released in 2016 under ACLU lawsuits detail these methods, including walling, sleep deprivation up to 180 hours, and isolation in pitch-black cells designed to induce helplessness and compliance. Even in the 2020s, a December 2024 collection from the National Security Archive compiles over 1,200 MKUltra-related files, highlighting ongoing declassifications of behavior control experiments involving isolation, hypnosis, and drugs, experiments that sought to reprogram minds for offensive purposes. These revelations, amid 2025's AI-driven surveillance and global instability, suggest isolation tech could evolve into AI-monitored freeze zones for elite control or societal modeling. What if escaped inhabitants are behind those weird ocean sightings or viral time traveler videos? One theory. Governments use them to model climate refugee camps or mind control for crowds. But is it real? Skeptics say it's just paranoia, blending Epstein scandals with sci-fi. But let's imagine a real-world parallel to how Project Freeze could operate in 2025. Envision a secluded private island, perhaps one of those ultra-secure elite retreats in the Pacific, transformed into a high-tech isolation lab, powered by Palantir's Gotham platform, a real AI-driven surveillance system already used for mass behavioral analysis and predictive policing by U.S. agencies. The setup monitors inhabitants 24/7 via drones, IoT sensors, and facial recognition tech. This isn't fiction. Palantir has expanded into vast civilian surveillance networks, processing everything from phone records to social behaviors to forecast threats or optimize operations. In our fringe scenario, the AI collects granular data on daily routines, social interactions, and psychological states in a frozen 1950s environment. No modern tech, scripted daily lives mimicking post-war America. Then, machine learning algorithms recondition the surroundings, adjusting artificial weather simulations, rationing resources via smart dispensers, or even deploying subliminal messaging through hidden speakers to influence compliance and test evolutionary adaptations. It's akin to how AI is already reconditioning real environments in isolated settings, like in ecological experiments where algorithms monitor and dynamically alter habitats for conservation, or more ominously, in simulated societies where startups like Artificial Societies use AI to model entire human populations, predicting behaviors and re-engineering conditions for optimal outcomes. With global pushes for sovereign AI, where nations build self-contained AI infrastructures for control and security, these islands could be beta tests for elite bunkers amid climate chaos or societal collapse. Yet, with islands like Mosquito, Branson's neighbor to Necker, being ultra-secure, and videos surfacing about the world's most protected private island, the puzzle pieces fit too well. Post-pandemic isolation fever has us all questioning reality. Project Freeze preys on that. So, what do you think? Is Project Freeze hiding in plain sight or just another rabbit hole? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Have you spotted anomalous islands on Google Earth? Hit like if this blew your mind, subscribe for more fringe deep dives. Catch you beyond the veil, where truth bends and time pretends.